Welcome everyone. Today we are going to see protocol architecture of GSM. In the last video we saw the UM interface, that is the radio interface of the GSM. So now we will see the protocol architecture or protocol layers involved in the GSM system. In previous semester you have studied the OSI layer architecture, which is followed in computer networks. Based on that, this GSM protocol layer architecture is also defined. This architecture is followed, or these protocol layers are followed for signaling between different entities of the GSM system. As you can see on your screen, four entities primarily shown: mobile station, base transceiver station, base station controller, and mobile switching center. So as you can see, there are different layers involved at the different entity. Like mobile station implements 5 layers. Actually, these are 3 layers. We will see that later on. Whereas base station implements only 3 layers. Base station controller also implements only 3 layers, whereas mobile switching center again implements 5 layers. So communication between all these entities happen by following functions of these layers. Okay, as we know, in the OSI layer, bottommost layer is physical layer. Same thing applies to the GSM protocol architecture. The bottommost layer is a physical layer. So you can see for mobile station and base station, physical layer involves a radio layer because their communication is wireless happening through UM interface. Then communication between BTS and BSC happens through a wired network. So physical layer involves PCM, that is pulse code modulation, and same technique is involved for communication between base station controller and mobile switching center. Okay, so this diagram represents how different protocols or different protocol layers are used for communication between different entities. Okay, the second layer in the OSI is data link layer. Now same layer is adapted for GSM. This is data link. For GSM it uses a specific protocol called as link access procedure for D channel. We will see details about it later on. So this LAPD protocol is used in the second layer for data link layer purposes, and the third layer, which is divided into 3 sub layers at the most, is your media access layer. So out of the 7 OSI layers, only 2 layers are defined in the GSM protocol architecture. The remaining 5 layers are responsibility of the service provider. Okay, so media access layer has 3 sub layers as at mobile station, whereas it has only one sub layer at the base station and base station controller, and again 3 layers in the mobile switching center. Okay, so let's first see what is the full form of this, all the abbreviations which are shown over here. This radio layer, as I discussed, PCM stands for pulse code modulation, LAPD, link access procedure for D channel, RR stands for radio resource management, MM stands for mobility management, CM stands for call management. Okay, now RR dash is a small part of RR, that's why it is dash, denoted by dash. BTSM is a BTS management layer. Again we have RR dash and BTSM here. Now then BSS AP. BSS AP stands for BSS, that is base station subsystem application part. Okay, functions of all these layers we will see in this video. Then again we have mobility management and call management. Okay, SS7 we have discussed previously also, signaling system number 7. It is a standard protocol used for communication between MSC and BSS. Okay, so as you can also observe, the communication at different entities happen at different data rates. Like BTS and BSC communicate via 16 to 64 kbps, whereas BSC to MSC communicate via 64 kbps to 2.048 mbps. Okay, the reason for that is different use of media at physical layer at different entity. For example, at mobile station, physical layer involves wireless connection, so no physical medium. But at MSC, we can have high data transfer rate cables for communication between MSC and BSC, so it supports higher data rate. Okay, so let's see functions of each layer one by one. First layer. Now first layer in OSI as well as in this GSM protocol layer architecture is a physical layer. So as we know, primary function of physical layer is to handle actual data transmission over a physical medium. Now in this case, there is no physical medium, wireless medium. So this physical layer handles all radio specific functions, that is wireless specific functions, which includes creation of burst. These are the functions at mobile station. Keep in mind that creation of burst, that means we have seen what is a burst in the last video. Then one burst is present in one frame. There are multiple such frames are transmitted in the wireless media. So multiplexing of different bursts into a TDMA frame is also a job of this physical layer. Then since we are using TDMA with FDMA for GSM, synchronization is necessary in case of TDMA, and that synchronization with BTS is possible because of this physical layer. Then also which channels are free for communication, then what is the signal strength of those channels on the downlink, that means from BTS to mobile station, that is also detected by this physical layer. So it is nothing but having an antenna which is smart enough to detect the idle channels and measuring their strength of that particular channel. Then while actually transmitting the data is not transmitted in a raw stream, it is encoded before transmission. So channel coding, error detection or correction is also a function of this physical layer. Now these particular functions are applicable only to mobile station. Now what about physical layer at the other entities like mobile switching center or base transceiver station or BSC, that is base station controller? All these entities communicate via physical media. So they have a fixed dedicated path, so less amount of specification is mentioned in those physical layers. Like data transmission at physical layer typically uses pulse code modulation, which offers 64 kbps channel at the minimum. Okay, so PCM is a modulation technique which is used for physical media transmission at BTS, BSC and MSC. GSM also allows to sub-multiplex the channels into smaller channels of 16 kbps data rate. So if you divide a channel of 64 kbps into 4 channels, then you can combine them later on. Why to divide into 4 channels? So that 4 users can be supported, because 16 kbps is enough data rate for user data from a mobile station. Okay, so if we have a 64 kbps channel, we are wasting the bandwidth. If we have single 64 kbps channel, we are wasting the bandwidth of a channel, because we only require 16 kbps for single user. Okay, so we can divide this 64 kbps channel into 4 sub channels so that 4 users can be accommodated. Okay, so physical layer at the A interface typically includes leads line with 2.048 Mbps capacity. So where is A interface? A interface is between BSC and MSC, this one. So for this, leads line are used. We know different forms of physical media, leads lines, coaxial cables, twisted pair cables and so on. Different lines are having different data rates. For higher data rates between base station and mobile switching center, leads line are used, and it supports data rate up to 2.048 Mbps. Okay, these can be simple twisted pair cables or coaxial cables, and this is wireless. Okay, so this is all about first layer, that is bottommost layer, physical layer. Now let's move to the data link layer. that is layer 2. Layer 2 is a data link layer in OSI model. In GSM model, the layer 2 has a special protocol which is called as LAPDM, that is link access procedure for D channel. Now what is D channel? We will see later on. But LAPDM is a version of LAPD protocol defined for digitally wired telephony, that is ISDN system, and it is adapted for mobility. That's why the subscript is M attached to LAPD. So LAPD has been derived from link access procedure for D channel in ISDN system. It is a version of HDLC, that is high level data link control. So it is also data link layer protocol LAPD, and LAPDM is adapted version for mobility. Okay, LAPDM is a lightweight LAPD because it does not need synchronization flags or checksumming for error detection. Now, synchronization and error detection, as we have seen, is done already at the physical layer. So, additional task is avoided for data link in the GSM protocol architecture. Okay. So, what are the basic functions of data link layer that are also followed in the LAPDM, like sequencing of data frames, then flow control, at what rate receiver is capable of receiving the data. Based on that, transmission flow is controlled. That flow control is managed by the LAPDM. Also, it does the segmentation of data and reassembling of data depending on transmission and reception. While transmitting, it segments the data, while receiving, it reassembles the received data. So LAPDM is responsible for that, and it also responsible for acknowledged and unacknowledged data transfer depending on type of network layer protocol used. Acknowledgement is sent or not sent by the LAPDM. Okay, so this is about second layer. Now what is D channel? That we will discuss during channels followed in the GSM. Actually it is out of the scope of the our current syllabus, but still we will see what is the meaning of D channel, or what is the meaning of different types of channels in the GSM system in the latter part of this video. Okay, so let's move on to the now third layer. We are done with the first and second layer. Now third layer, which involves several sub layers. So we will see them one by one. So let's see them. Okay, layer 3, as I said, comprises of several sub layer. The lowest sub layer is radio resource management sub layer, but radio resources are required only at mobile station and base transceiver station. So RR is implemented only at MS and BTS. Okay, out of it, BTS implements only part of the RR. Not entire RR is implemented at BTS, only small part is implemented, because BTS communicates with two entities. One is a mobile station, that is radio, and other is base station controller, which is wired interface. So entire connection of BTS is not wireless. Some part is wireless and some part is wired. That's why only part of the RR is implemented in the BTS, and remaining part is implemented for wired connection, which is not RR. So the functions of RR dash are supported by BSC via BTS management layer. Okay, because towards the BSC connection will be wired one. So whatever functions RR dash is implementing, those are adapted for wired connection via BTS management layer. Okay, the main tasks of RR, what is the radio resource management actually? Radio resource management means setting up the connection, that means acquiring a channel. First of all, detecting a channel, that is done by physical layer. Then whatever channel is detected, acquiring that and setting up that for making a call or receiving a call. Then maintaining that call, that is maintenance of a channel. And when call is ended, release of a radio channel. So setup, maintenance and radio is done by RR. Detecting of channel is done by lower layer. Okay, once lower layer detects the available channel, call setup, maintenance and release. All this process will be done by RR. RR also directly accesses physical layer for radio information. So which channel is detected for making the communication possible is taken, this information is taken from physical layer directly by the RR, okay, and offers a reliable connection to the higher layer. So once the connection is set up, higher layers will be getting involved, because since the connection is wireless and it can be mobile also, users can be mobile also, higher layers will be also responsible for this maintenance and release of the radio channels. Okay, so what is the higher layer at mobile station? It is mobility management. Okay, what is mobility management? While ongoing call, users may roam around the different places, whether that those places will be short at a shorter distance or it may be at a longer distance because user is in the car or a vehicle. So while users are moving, maintaining this call is a difficult task, and that is managed by the mobility management layer. Okay, so what does does? It does the functions of registering the mobile user so that he can be uh, available for making a call or receiving a call, then authenticating that user, identifying the users. If it is receiving the call, it should be able to know who is calling the uh, intended receiver. So caller ID is also supported by mobility management layer. And location updating. While user is roaming around, its location continuously gets updated. If user stays within the same base station, then not much problem. But if user moves out of the base station, then call should not be disconnected. That's why location updating is so important. And then if user moves out of the current base station, then different numbers have to be assigned like TMSI. That provision of TMSI is done by mobility management. So TMSI, that is temporary mobile identification, mobile station identification, is valid only in the current location area of the VLR. So in whichever current cell or base station you are in while making that call, within that cell or base station only TMSI remains valid. So mobility management layer offers a reliable connection, that means maintains the connection. Reliability is part of this maintenance to the next higher layer. Okay, so once mobility management layer is successful, higher layers can perform their functions easily. Okay, so let's see the next layer, because RR and MM now covered. Now the higher most sub layer of the third layer is call management layer. Okay, so what are the call management layer entities? It basically consists of three entities, that is call control, okay, then SMS service and supplementary service. So connection may be set up for voice call, it may be set up for sending a SMS, or it may be set up for sending a request to the network, like activation of certain services or activation of subscription for certain services. So these type of three activities can be done by mobile station. So you require three different connections. That's why three different entities are there: call control, SMS and supplementary services. SMS, as we know, allows for message transfer using different channels. Those are called as control channels like SDCCH and SACCH. SDCCH and SACCH are type of control channels: standalone dedicated control channel and standalone associated control channel. The types of channels we have not covered because this is out of scope of our syllabus. Channels are of basically two types. Let me summarize it in short. Channels, that is frequency channels, are of two types. One is physical and another is logical. Physical channel means actual frequency on which you are transmitting the data, and logical channel means what type of data you are transmitting on the physical channel. So logical channel defines what is the use of this particular physical channel? Its use is nothing but logical channel. For example, if user data is transmitted or user traffic is transmitted on a physical channel, such physical channel will be called as traffic channel, TCH. Okay, TCH is a logical channel. TCH means physical channel is used for user traffic. Then if control information is transmitted on a physical channel or in a particular channel, then control channel is type of the logical channel. Control information like making a call, sending a alert, okay, or requesting for subscription service, whatever it is. So like that, there are several logical channels. Details you can find in the book, but right now it is out of the scope of current discussion, so we will skip it. So that is what it is mentioned. SMS allows for message transfer using control channels. Okay, voice is not, or user traffic is not intended for this one, so it can be sent via control channel. Then call control provides a point to point communication between two terminals, that is two users, and used by higher layers for call establishment, call clearing, and change of call parameters. So higher layers means user interfaces will activate or initiate the procedure for doing the call establishment or ending a call or holding a call or changing a call parameters, and those initiated procedures will be forwarded to call control layer, which will be acted upon by this layer and then forwarded to lower layers. Okay, so it is a layer wise procedure for doing all these things, and that's why CC stands on the top of it. So in short, we can say CC manages the communication between user interface and lower layers like data link and physical, for all these three purposes. Okay, establishment, maintenance, and release, this can be done via several layers, initiated by user or initiated by network. In case of dropping of a call, network may also drop a call, so I am saying initiated by network also. So CC is a mediator between user and lower layers. Okay, so that is the job of CC, call control. This layer also provides functions to send in band tones like DTMF, dual band or dual tone multiple frequency, over the GSM network. This is a regularly intervalled beeps sent by the user in order to uh, acquire or initiate certain processes. This functionality is no longer in usage in the modern era, so let's not waste time over it. That DTMF tones are also provided by the call management layer. So this is about CM, CC, SMS, and supplementary services are included in it. Then next layer is a SS7. We have seen about this previously also. Signaling system number 7 is responsible for, or this particular protocol layer is responsible for signaling between mobile switching center or mobile services switching center and base station controller. This protocol transfers all the information between MSC and different entities of the MSC like HLRs, VLR, AUC, EIR, OMC, and so on. It also controls several base station subsystems via BSS application part. So what is the meaning of this? Let's see that. So these three are part of BSS, and this entire BSS is managed by MSC. So whatever functions required for the management of all three entities, these are conveyed, the information required for controlling these three entities is conveyed via BSS application part. Okay, so BSS AP is responsible for control related information exchange between MSC and BSS entities. Primarily it goes through the BSC, that's why it is communicating with the only BSC. Okay, so that is BSS application part. So that is the job of SS7. That's why you will see SS7 is a part of second layer as well as third layer. So this is first layer of the mobile switching center. This should be second layer, but this is part of second as well as third layer. Okay, you can see here SS7 is part of second as well as third layer. So SS7 along with BSSAP sends the information to BSC, and SS7 sends the information to BSC for only this particular A interface. BSSAP for entire base station subsystem, whereas SS7 only for A interface. Okay, so SS7 works in two layers, that is data link, and the third layer, that is media access layer. Okay, so that is about signaling system number 7. That's all about the protocol architecture. So we have seen different layers involved in the GSM protocol architecture and its functionality. That's all for today. Thank you.